Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Thanks for stopping by. It's great to be with you. We're early in the week, and it's sort of early in the day. Hope you're having a good day, start to your day, wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show, and whatever you may be doing. We are coast to coast, so the show does air at different times in different markets. A couple of guests today, Steve Augustine from Wakunaga of America, makers of Kyolic age chronic extract and other dietary supplements, will be on. Neil Levin from Now Foods will be along. And Gary's here. Stephen is here. And the official photographer for Let's Talk Nutrition is here.
Rick Talseda.
Tell the people who he is.
Well, okay, Rick Talseda is now the official photographer for Let's Talk Nutrition. Rick is in the Bay Area here in Tampa.
Right.
Travels all over the country. You can see a lot of his work on his website. And I believe, what's the website again, Rick?
We'll get him a mic in a minute. We'll have him tell us.
But he's really huge in the real estate market too.
Well,
with his photography of houses.
Oh, I'm sure. Which is an art form. In fact, I was looking at homes last night, thinking about moving, and my goodness, I thought I was in an art museum, the way they now promote the sale of these homes. I'm familiar with Rick and his work, which is excellent, but that's not why I asked him to be the official photographer for the show. I happen to think he's a good person. That's where I start. And then I find out, can he take a picture of this mug? And if he can do something with me, then I know then he's a good photographer. He's a nice guy. I've known him a good while. He did work for other shows, and got to know him that way. And every morning without fail, he'd be walking out of his studio, always said good morning to me, every single time. I didn't know the guy from Adam's Rib at the time. I thought, that's a pretty nice guy. And then I got to know him. And so we asked him if he would participate with the show in his professional capacity. And so we'll show you some of his work from time to time, not of me, but he has a great passion for doing what he does. And I like to be around people like that, who have a passion for their work, and because it's infectious. So we're so delighted to have him as part of the show, and you'll see his name appear in credits and whatnot. And along the way, I'll introduce you to him. Today, I'll have him, when he puts his camera down and gets a moment, we'll put a mic on him, and you can grab that mic, Rick. Is his mic on?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. You can get into that mic and we'll chat a minute. Steve will be here. He's waiting in the wings. We saw Stephen Augustine in Baltimore, and he did a great job as usual. Rick, good morning. It's nice to see you again, and it's been a good while.
Dr. Garker, I'm ecstatic and excited and privileged, and I feel humbled to be working with you.
Please.
All these years gone by that we've said hi in the hallway.
Yeah.
Here it is, full circle back in the studio.
Wow. You do great work, and
Thank you.
We're so happy that you will help us out a little bit. And we won't, as I said, we won't burden you too much. We do, I'll be giving talks and be giving health fairs.
Awesome.
We've had a lot of requests for that to come back, and so we're going to be doing that. And I'll get out there and have access to the people that I like that contact, and so they'll see you there. You've been shooting film how long? Been a photographer for how long? How many years?
It actually started in 2000. My wife and I were in Australia for a vacation, and I had a cheap Instamatic Kodak. You remember the little yellow throwaways?
I do.
Well, I had one of those, and all around me were these Asian photographers, and they had Nikons, Canons that looked like bazookas, and then here I was with this little orange throwaway disposable, and I was embarrassed, Here I was all the way in Australia with a stupid little disposable camera. That was the germ that started it. When I came back to the U.S., I bought a DSLR and then took off from there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
photography as an art form, I've always been intrigued, and it was always black and white photos that caught my interest.
Me too.
For some reason. And of course, in journalism, the photographers are so underrated,
Right.
but they're wonderful photographers. And I've always been intrigued with photography. I can't think of her name at the moment, and she shot black and white mostly, unknown. She was. They did a special on her, and they found most of her work after she passed away.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of her name.
I can't think of her name either, but I know who
You know who
talking
I'm
about.
talking about?
She had like 17,000 photos.
Unknown. She would walk the streets and just take photographs, right? You know who I'm talking?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I'll think of her name. Maybe we can find it. And that's an example of what I'm talking about, that kind of work and the artistry of it all. And in this day and age, it's become part of marketing, hasn't it, in a big way?
It has. You know, the advent of the iPhone and the smartphones, you know, you see a lot of photography. You don't see necessarily great photography, even though you got a good camera. There's a lot to photography that a lot of people don't realize, whether it's composition, whether it's lighting, and just capturing emotion if you're photographing people. So for me, that's my favorite is photographing people because, especially senior citizens to babies, there's just an aura of just uniqueness about a person.
Is it true that some people are more photogenic? What does that mean? That some people are more, the camera seems to like them more?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Somewhat true. I think part of it has to do with confidence in an individual. I shoot a lot of headshots, and I will know the minute I see a person, whether they're going to be photogenic or not, and a lot has to do with their confidence, their self-esteem. I had a gal from Aetna Insurance. I was doing about 120 employees for Aetna, and she was from Brooklyn, I think it was, and she was nervous as nervous can be. She was almost in tears, and I did about 40 shots with her until she finally calmed down, and I showed her the picture. She started crying. Oh, that's how fragile she was.
There are some of my friends. You could take a photograph of them any time of the day in any condition, and they look beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just did I don't know if you know Karen Gilman. She's the CEO of an executive center over here at Rocky Point. And we did a real quick shot. Tested her background that she had bought, and she just posted this picture, and it just went berserk because she's that photogenic. She's very confident. Right. She's beautiful, and she makes me look good.
Exactly.
Doc, a lot of the people that he takes photos of end up using his photos for their Facebook profiles, their LinkedIn profiles.
Sure.
And that's what I did. I mean, I didn't look like a wildebeest finally in a picture. And I was like, using this.
Come on, man. You don't need to put, man. You don't look like a wildebeest, man. Well, I'll thank you on air. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For being such a nice person and always being kind to me. I appreciate it. And being the official photographer for Let's Talk Nutrition.
Awesome.
When we come back, our pleasure, man. When we come back, Steve Augustine will be here. And we saw Steve in, Baltimore at the trade show. Had a nice time with him. He did a great job. We'll get his take on what went on there. And we talked about Kyo-dopholis when we were there. Quite a bit. That's the first time we talked that much about that particular dietary supplement from Wakunaga of America. That product is fabulous. As probiotics go, there are more probiotic products now in the marketplace than I have since. And some of them are, this product was 100 years in the making. He'll explain.
I'm Joy McCarthy, holistic nutritionist, and I expect more from my multivitamin. I've researched many vitamins, and what's truly different about Every Woman's One Daily from New Chapter is that it's fermented with probiotics and whole foods and gentle even on an empty stomach. Every Woman's One Daily helps you feel good every day. giving you immune, energy, and stress support, and nutrients for bone and heart health. You will notice a difference. Every Woman's One Daily recently won the Best Multivitamin Award, and I love that it's non-GMO project verified. Discover the wisdom of nature with New Chapter.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce.
Back. Welcome to There You Go. Got a tan. Welcome back.
It's this TV. They come in here and they play with it for the football.
Yeah.
So they turn it around.
Wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show and whatever you may be doing, Steve Augustine, educator for Wakunaga of America, is my guest, and spent a couple of days last week with him in the Wakunaga booth, the Kyolic booth, and at the Expo East in Baltimore. Steve, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you on. You got home safely, I presume.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me. Yeah, no problem with the flight back. I was surprised.
Yeah, I know. Well, again, I wanted to thank you and Jay, Levy, and Wakunaga of America for giving us the opportunity to be in your booth and broadcast there for 2 days. We had a great time, and we got good feedback from it. People enjoyed it. We certainly enjoyed it, and we thank you very much for doing that. Thank you so much.
You're always welcome. You know, the customers at that trade show enjoy coming by and taking a look at the process live. I think they're fascinated by the whole thing. They
are. People love radio. They love to listen to radio. They like to watch radio. That's why we stream on 5 continents with 30,000 hits a day. But they love terrestrial radio, and I do too. I grew up with radio, as many of the people listening and watching the show, and that's why we're so thankful. We're close to 60 affiliates across the United States. Everyone's important to us. We love them. So we talked about Kyo-dopholis when we were there. You know, that's the first time we talked that much about that product, and that product's 100 years in the making, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's interesting to discuss that at a trade show like that, especially with the current conditions in the probiotic category where, you know, there's probably 50 to 100 products out there now.
Easy. And they're making all kinds of claims. You know, it's this, it's that, 10 billion, 100 billion, 50 billion. They're jamming so many of these microorganisms into a capsule. I don't know. Those are living organisms. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but when you start to crowd any living species into close quarters or contain them, it doesn't work out well.
It's certainly harder to have stability studies and scientific research, because the more strains you put in there, the harder it is to actually figure out which strains are having which effect.
But the crowding isn't. These organisms are alive. They have to make the journey from your mouth into your intestine. They got to make that journey. Then once they're in that ecological system in your gut, then they have to fight for food and space on the lining of the intestine. These are living organisms, and they're competing with these pathogenic bacteria as well. So, I mean, these are not inanimate objects. They're alive. They're living. They may be microscopic, but they're living, yes?
Right, and that's one of the biggest problems we've seen is you have to be experienced in the production of these probiotics and the strains and the stability, and you can't just throw 10 or 15 different strains and 20 billion CFUs, which are colony-forming units, into a bottle and expect it to do well on the shelf over, you know, a year or however long it might sit there before someone buys it.
In fact, if anyone's watching the show right now, Gary put up on the screen an image with you to my left and Jay Levy to my right. Jay has his white shirt on, and you have your blue shirt on, and I'm sitting there interviewing you guys. We're talking. That was in your booth, and we took a lot of photographs of that, too. So there you sit. You're now streamed across 5 continents, brother.
Thank you.
So if you're in a witness protection program, your cover is blown.
I've been trying to get him to send in a headshot, and he won't do it. So,
well, we got him now. We got him an image of him now. And how long you been in the industry?
I've been in the natural products industry 28 years.
And what advice would you give to the listeners and viewers of Let's Talk Nutrition about buying dietary supplements? What would you say to them? Not necessarily Kyolic, but what advice would you give to them about purchasing supplements?
Do your homework. Probably the most important thing. Your program is a science-based program, and we're a science-based company. But we, just assume that people will always make the right choice in a quality product and a quality company. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they give in to marketing. And it's more important for people to do their homework and do the research on any supplement that they're going to buy, and buy the highest quality, most researched version of that supplement.
When you say do your homework, where would they go to find out? Is there some objective...
There's nothing wrong with listening to radio shows like yourself to get inspiration, but you can go to research sites like PubMed is very good. You can start
Cochrane.
with Google and get some information from Google. And I think we were
Google
talking
Scholar.
Yeah, Google Scholar. We were talking at the show about that. I did not know about that site, and I certainly will start using it. There's another website that I like called examine.com that I refer to look at an outside opinion of the supplement industry. They're not part of our industry, so you get both sides of the coin there.
Mm-hmm. Marketing. It's a blessing and a curse. You need the marketing. I'm glad to see commercials on TV with this lady standing in the elevator asking a bunch of people, how many of you have gas, bloating, diarrhea? I thought, what? Talking about probiotics. Whatever it takes. If that helps educate and gets people introduced to the concept, I'm good with that. That's the blessing. The curse, sometimes the marketing is better than the product. So that's a problem. So we try to help with that. We come back, we'll continue our conversation with Steve Augustine, educator for Wakunaga of America, and we'll see what's on his mind. I was thinking about their greens product as I was flying home on a plane. Why that came to my head, I have no clue. Let's Talk Nutrition. Great to be with you. That's good. Now you got it. Perfect.
Well, that's not what people see, you know. That's what we see.
That's perfect.
That's just for you.
Okay.
No, the one on the computer looks good.
Rick, Steve Augustine. I'm a handful, I know. Rick Tessita is in the studio today. He's the official photographer for Let's Talk Nutrition. You can go to his website. It's RICK, last name TAUCEDA.com. Tessita? RickTessita.com. Fabulous photographer. As great as he is a photographer, that's how he's exponentially even better as a human being. So that'll tell you how good a person he is, right? And as is my guest, Steve Augustine, one of the nicest guys, always accommodates, helps people, goes out of his way. We appreciate that. Steve, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you back on, man. Your greens product, I was on the plane for some reason, flying home. I was thinking about the show, and I don't know if we ever had talked about the Kyo greens before Baltimore. If we did, it wasn't very much. And there's so many greens products out there now, too. You all have a great greens product.
We've done Kyo Green for over 20 years. We had Kyo Green when I started with the company. So we were one of the first people to actually have one of the better-selling green products in the industry.
Remember I said that Kyo-dopholis was 100 years in the making? Could you tell the listener and the viewer what I meant by that?
Well, we're a Japanese company originally. We're based out of Mission Viejo in California, but the Japanese are far, far ahead of the United States as far as probiotics and understanding the use. Kyo-dopholis was used in 30,000 hospitals in Japan when I started with the company in 1989.
That's unbelievable. So the Japanese were using Kyo-dopholis, that probiotic, in their hospitals in 1989. I dare say the conversation about probiotics was almost non-existent here.
Yeah, when I used to talk about probiotics, people looked at me almost cross-eyed, like, what was I talking about? And now look at it.
So explain to the listener what I meant by 100 years. They took the strains from
the strain stability. Yeah, the original strains were cultured from a human baby in Japan and have been cultured on potato starch and replicated ever since then.
And why is that so significant? Because some of the probiotic products now don't come from a human. They come from goats.
Right. Well, probiotics that are indigenous to the human intestinal tract and plant more readily in that mucosa you were talking about, the sticky lining, they replicate better and they live longer. The goat or cow strains have some value, but they're what's called transient value because they don't belong in your intestinal tract. They belong in a goat or cow's intestinal tract.
Exactly.
They pass through and they offer some benefits while they're passing through, but they don't implant and replicate. And that's that whole concept of colony-forming units, CFUs.
CFUs. That had nothing to do with your air conditioner. Right?
Yeah.
You like that? That was good, right?
That was. Good delivery.
They laugh at me because, what I know about electronics, you can put in the thimble and it's still half full. So, yeah. If I can say CFUs, you know something. I don't know anything about that stuff.
Hey, you were telling me that other companies are using goat intestine or something for their cultures.
Well, they're derived, like Steve just said, they're deriving the probiotics from the lining of goats or cows. And as Steve said, they will work, but they don't last long in your gut. They don't belong there. It's like, moving somebody into a neighborhood that they don't belong in that neighborhood, right? They just don't fit for whatever reason. And they don't fit. And so these probiotics were, the genesis of them for Kyo-dopholis were from a human 100 years ago in Japan. The Japanese are so smart about that. I mean, they've been working on this over 100 years.
And that's important because the practice makes perfect with probiotics, and the better you are at the stabilization products, process for the cultures, the better the end product is. And Kyo-dopholis has a 4-year shelf life, which you don't need it to be that long, but it's important to know if you buy it and you happen to put it in your medicine cabinet and forget about it, a year later, it's still good.
It's still good.
4 years from when you open it?
Or not.
Manufacturing date.
From the manufacturing date, whether it's open or not. I asked that question at the show. I said, you mean after you open it? He said, no, from the manufacturing date, it's good.
Right, and we talked about condensation and stuff, which is very important here in Florida, and maybe we should discuss that again real quickly in case somebody wasn't listening.
No, go ahead, mention it.
Yeah, so we live in Florida. It's a humid environment, or anywhere where, in the summertime where there's a lot of humidity. Some people have the urge after they open their probiotic to put it in the fridge. You can do that. It won't hurt it, but you don't need to do that with Kyo-dopholis. And you actually put yourself in this situation where if you're going to put Kyo-dopholis in the fridge because it's in a glass amber bottle, you don't want to take it in and out of the fridge because you might get some condensation inside the bottle, which is not good for the probiotic strains. It's better to just, if you're going to put it in the fridge, leave it in the fridge, open the bottle in the fridge, take the capsules out, and then put the cap back on and close the refrigerator door.
You alluded to glass amber bottle. That didn't escape me. Why a glass amber bottle?
Okay, well, the product sits typically in the health food store for a couple of months. It might even sit there for a year, depending on what store you're shopping at and how quick their turnover is. Well, they've got fluorescent lighting in those stores, which is very bad for probiotic strains. They also have some permeability of moisture in the atmosphere if the bottle is plastic, right? So Kyo-dopholis, because we care about it and we put so much time into the making of it, we put it in a better bottle that protects it better from the environment of the health food store or whatever store you might find it in.
And to do it that way, to package it that way, is more expensive.
Absolutely.
People think, well, how much more? The difference in weight over the long run, I mean, it costs a lot more to put it in a glass bottle and ship it than it does these light plastic bottles. But it's better for the consumer. That's what I mean about Wakunaga of America. At every bend and turn, they'll do the right thing. That's been my experience with them. Even when nobody's looking, they'll do the right thing. That's why I have a lot of regard for that company. Makers of Kyolic. We didn't even talk about Kyolic today, but that's okay. We come back, we have another segment, and we'll get into that. And we're glad that you could stop by today. We're always delighted to have you there and watching the show or listening to it on your radio station, wherever and however you may be listening to the show across the U.S. We're very proud of all the affiliates, and we thank them for their support. We'll be back. Let's Talk Nutrition, Coast to Coast.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce exclusively on Amazon.com.
Steve Augustine's my guest educator for Wakunaga of America. I want to thank Rick Tacita for coming in today. He had to cut out. He's the official photographer for Let's Talk Nutrition. Great photographer. RickTacita.com. Guy is good. And when I tell you he's a good person, he's as good as they come. Wonderful guy, good guy, honest, sincere. And on top of it, he can take good photographs. So it's a plus for us. We love that. Steve, welcome back. Kyolic. Yesterday I was writing something. What was I writing? I was writing a little paragraph. I was sending it off to somebody. I was talking about supplements, and I had mentioned Kyolic, and I had said it's one of the most researched dietary supplements in the natural products industry. I was telling this person, and they didn't realize how many studies, how many papers have been written on the product. They were shocked. Even though we've talked about it on the show, a lot of people don't realize how science-based Wakunaga of America is. They got like 100 PhDs or more working for them right here as well as in Japan. Right?
Yeah, well, one of the interesting things that, as far as being a science-based company, we are constantly coming out with new studies, and I think we touched on this a little bit in the booth during the live broadcast. Right now we have 4 different studies going on at 4 different parts of the world. We've got one in Sweden, one in Canada, one at UCLA Cardiovascular Research Center, and one in Germany that we're working on. And that every year that there are at least 4 or 5 new studies that we're working on.
It's amazing. And we've always, when we talk about Kyolic, we usually focus on heart disease and whatnot. Someday we'll have to, do you all still make that booklet with all of the references to the different...
Yeah, the blue book, we call it. It has all of the scientific studies. We're actually in the process of updating that for 2017, 2018 right now. It's not available yet, but certainly when the latest publication comes out, I'll make sure I get you one.
Yeah, I'd love to have that. If the number of systems in the body that Kyolic aged garlic extract provides medicinal support to is just astonishing. And we won't get into it today. It's not just the cardiovascular system.
I want to know about Alzheimer's, because the antioxidants, they say antioxidants in garlic help with Alzheimer's.
Yeah, we haven't done a study like that yet. I certainly would like to talk to our PhDs, and they're always open to new categories. Mostly we've been focusing on blood pressure, cardiovascular health, and immune function lately. But we have historically looked at different areas of the brain. So
yeah, there is some research where Kyolic's been used in brain research. So it's an interesting idea. How many different renditions of Kyolic now do you have?
There are 25 different formulas right now, and we're always trying to come up with new innovative formulations. We just had our meeting at the Baltimore show, and we've got a couple of formulas that we're considering right now for the future. So that number is going to increase.
877-897-8255. That's toll free. If you call out of the country, at continental U.S., it's 813-636-8255. Where are you today? Where are you headed?
Well, I just got back from the Baltimore show. I'm in Orlando right now, and I'm actually going to be hanging out in Florida, trying to contact as many stores as I can to find out how they did, if they lost power, if the company can help them in any way to get back on their feet. Wow. So it's a pretty big job because, as you know, the entire state of Florida was impacted. No
question about it. Yeah. Even up in my neck of the woods, I mean, we had issues. I lost power for 4 days, and I had to leave town and go to Baltimore so I could, shave without a flashlight. You ever try shaving with what's that flashlight I have, Gary?
The Maglite. He's got a police-issued Maglite.
Police-issued Maglite, and I'm trying to shave with. I almost cut my head off.
That would blind
you. Well, we appreciate you. We appreciate Wakunaga of America. Kyolic aged garlic extract, Kyo greens, Kyo-dopholis, and they have other SKUs, other products. We haven't even mentioned them.
Yeah, and you know the term Kyo, everybody always says, why do we put Kyo in front of everything? It's Japanese for strong.
Kyo is?
Yep, means strong. So strong garlic, strong acidophilus, strong wheatgrass. Not meaning strong in a bad way, strong in a good way.
Well, Kyo, let's talk nutrition. How about that?
Steve, I want to thank you for my pen again. I'm so excited.
Yeah, that was mine. I gave you mine.
When you speak to your Jay Levy, tell him I'm going to be in touch with him, and maybe I can find a way to participate. You have a big sales meeting coming up in Anaheim, don't you?
Right, and we're going to be starting to put together the next symposium, too, which I'm sure they'll...
When is that?
They haven't told me yet. They're working on it. They don't have the date set. But certainly, I'm sure we'll be giving you an invitation.
I would love... Last time I went, I interviewed everybody. Got them on film. I'd love to do that again.
Sure.
And I have some ideas about your meeting. I'd like to participate. I'll see if I'll talk to your boss. In the meanwhile... your territory is in Florida?
Yeah, well, I'm in charge of the whole East Coast, and but specifically take care of the retail accounts in Florida. And
do you have any stores in Philly?
No, I mean, yeah, indirectly. You know, we have a sales rep in D.C. that covers Philadelphia and the suburbs.
Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with some of the stores in the Philly area?
The last couple times I've worked with him have been in Baltimore, so I haven't been to Philly in a while.
Mm-hmm. The show's real big in that area, so... We like the health stores up there. By the way, you should tell the people in the health stores, the owners and managers, they're welcome to call the show anytime they want.
Yeah, they enjoyed being on. They were a little nervous at first because I kind of harangued them and brought them over, but they enjoyed it very much. I think they would like to be on again.
Absolutely, they can call anytime they want. We'd love to hear from them. I mean, they're the connection to the consumer, and they sometimes they know a lot about what consumers want and need. That's our audience. So we invite them. Please tell them they're welcome to call anytime. You take care of yourself, all right?
All right. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you around then.
All right. Take care.
All right. We'll be back. Neil Levin's my guest from Now Foods. Another nice guy. We have nice people on this show, boy. We're lucky. All good people. We enjoy them. We enjoy you, too. If you have to leave... No worries, everything's on demand at letstalknutrition.com, audio and video. Facebook, you find us there, and you'll find us on YouTube, my tube, our tube. We'll be back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Thanks for tuning in today. Great you could catch the show, and we're happy to be here with you. We're coast to coast, so you have to check the time. We air live 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern, but the show does air at different times in different markets. You have to check your local listings. And the show does stream. Facebook, YouTube, our website. Yeah, got it all connected. It's about connection. Connection. We got to connect. And we're connected to now foods in this portion of the show. And we have Neil Levin with us. He's been with Now for quite a while. I did not see him in Baltimore. I did see the Now booth. I walked by there several times. I know he lives in the Chicago area. Maybe he was there. I couldn't find him. I'll ask him here in a minute, but he usually is around. And he has always things on his mind he wants to talk about. He sends me the booking form. He fills it out. It's very nice that he does that. It makes my job easier. While we were in Baltimore, I have to share this with you. The first night, we had I guess he's an engineer, employee of iHeartMedia. His name was David. And David saved the day. There were some all kinds of technical issues. A fine young man. And he lives right in the city in Baltimore. And I asked him, I said, is there a good place for us to eat? And he said, well, first of all, stay away from all the tourist traps around here in the convention center. And he sent us to a restaurant. And I'm sharing this with you in case you go to Baltimore. And the name of the restaurant is Helmand, Helmand. You know, like Helmand Province in Afghanistan, where terrible battles were fought. The restaurant is Afghan cuisine. And David he said, you got to go there. You'll see. Well, let me tell you, we sat there 2.5 hours and ate. And I thoroughly enjoyed myself. We ordered appetizers. I ordered a salad. I ordered soup. I ordered 2 entrees. First time I could really taste food in a long time. And we sat. It was such a treat. And it was all vegetables. I had plant-based, but they had meat on there as well. The restaurant was filled. It was not a seat empty. And it was nice atmosphere. It's called the Helmand, Helmand on Charles Street. If you go to Baltimore, you must go there. I highly recommend it. They don't know I'm talking about them, but I just want to let you know that's good food. It was fabulous, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the question I had after we got done eating was one of the representatives from our parent company is with us.
Right.
And she asked the same question the same time I did, that we were full, but we didn't feel like
you were bloated.
Bloated after Thanksgiving turkey dinner full.
Right. I ate a lot of food for a change because I've had a hard time with all that, as many of you know, for all the reasons, and we'll get into it. And it was just wonderful. So it's healthy, tasty. Food is to be enjoyed. And, you can say healthy, food in the same sentence with enjoyment. Food is to be enjoyed. And it was a highlight. I could have eaten there every night. But we had plans the other night for different business reasons and whatnot. But the Helmand Restaurant on Charles Street in Baltimore, Maryland. Fabulous restaurant. Here's the way you can get in touch with us.
You can get us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255. Or you can email Dr. Garko at drgarko@letstalknutrition.com. Don't forget to follow us on Let's Talk Nutrition on Facebook and Let's Talk Nutrition on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have a question that came up yesterday, and I want to clarify it for everybody.
Yeah.
On the iHeartRadio app, on the podcast, it's Let's Talk Nutrition, and there is no apostrophe S. It's LETS.
Right. Though, in that world, they don't use apostrophes and periods. You just Let's Talk Nutrition. Yeah, that's letstalknutrition.com. Neil Levin's my guest, and he's the guy that's heading up that nutrition dimension at Now Foods. And Neil, it's great to have you on. I didn't see you in Baltimore. Were you there?
No, I was at another Expo East in Toronto.
Ah. And what was that called?
Expo East.
In Toronto.
Canadian Health Food Association.
There you. That's what I was.
I'm an international person.
That's what I know you are. Do you speak Canadian? No, I'm just kidding. Do you speak French?
Hey.
Hey. So that's what I was getting at. It was the Canadian Association, right?
Right.
Big turnout.
It was a good show. Yeah, it's not nearly as big as Expo East, but in Baltimore. But it's the biggest show in Canada.
Have you ever eaten Afghan food?
No, I have not.
Well, if you go to Baltimore again, which you will, go to that restaurant, the Helmand, Helmand. It was a real treat.
Okay.
It was a real treat. Can't speak highly enough. It was great. You like to eat food, right? Food's to be enjoyed. Yes?
I do. I enjoy good food, and that's one reason I'm with my wife. She makes some good food.
There you go.
She grows it too.
She does. She has a garden. She has a garden.
Huge.
No kidding. You don't live in the city. You live in the outskirts of Chicago.
Right. We have almost 4 acres of land. We've got a 1,400 square foot garden and a greenhouse. And
holy cow! I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
All organic.
All organic. She's out there. She's busy. I mean,
I live the dream with her.
Man, she probably grows her own basil and tomatoes and parsley and whatnot.
She makes her own pesto and barbecue sauce and all kinds of stuff. Pickles.
Wow. Man, you're a lucky guy, brother.
I'm building her pantry now. She makes so much food.
I mean, do you guys do your own canning?
She does, yeah.
Wow. No kidding.
I'm not going to take any credit for it.
No, you can't do that. I mean, my goodness. So she takes good care of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we missed you. I looked for you a couple of times, and I realized he's not here because he would be in that booth. I went by at different times. I said, no, he's not here. He's somewhere else. And you were in Canada. Any breaking news from now in terms of new products, new launches, or anything that we need to know about?
Well, our new brain attention formula is something notable.
That's what it's called, brain attention?
Brain attention. It's using a silk protein. You probably heard of that.
Tell us what that is. Well, hold on and tell us what that is. And then when we come back, we'll take Bill's call in Tampa, Florida. Brain attention. Most people are looking for brain retention. Try to remember. Yeah, this is good. Something new. Is it on the shelves or is it still out? Not yet.
It's on the shelf.
All right,
it came out last month.
We'll find out what that's all about. Brain attention. And of course, I saw the booking form, and you have some other things you want to talk about as well. We'll get to all of that and whatever's on your mind, wherever and however you may be listening or watching Let's Talk Nutrition. Even if it's off topic, it's quite all right. If you have a pressing comment or a question you just need to know, don't hesitate to call us. We love hearing from you. 877-897-8255.
If you've ever had Almost 52% of men experience erectile dysfunction and benign prostatic hyperplasia. If you've had challenges with virility, sexual health, or low energy, Body Vigor's Alpha Extension may be the answer for you. Body Vigor's Alpha Extension can help revitalize your alpha male and extend your love. Our formula is one of the highest quality nutraceuticals available, formulated to support the processes involved in promoting a healthy male sex drive, energy, and stamina. Alpha Extension has 2 powerful herbal blends: Virilomax, which focuses on male sexual health, and T-Pump Activator, which helps balance your testosterone levels. Revitalize your alpha male with Body Vigor's Alpha Extension. Exclusively available on Amazon.com.
Caffeine-free, dairy-free, egg-free, peanut-free, gluten-free, nut-free, soy-free. What am I talking about? Breaking news. A new product from Now Foods called Brain Attention. I was joking around. I said, well, I need retention. So I went on our website, their website, Now Food website, nowfoods.com. And it says enhances attention and supports memory retention. Exactly what I was saying. And I had never I didn't even know about the product. So I, got lucky. And it's chewable, I see here. And it's a natural chocolate flavor. Neil Levin just was telling us about it. I asked him what's new at now, and he said that. And do I have my facts right so far, Neil?
You do. You're hired. And if I remembered it without having to look it up, does that mean I don't need it?
No. No, it doesn't mean that. Is this a chewable? Totally?
It's a chewable, and it's been clinically tested for both children and adults, which many supplements have not been. And, of course, attention's a huge issue for children's health. And what it is, it's some peptides, some protein fractions that are taken from silk protein. So
what is silk protein? What is that?
Well, the silk. Silkworms spin silk, the web, and it's collected, and some of it is processed and turned into peptides as the proteins are extracted and then partially digested into peptides, and that's what's used here. And it bonds to proteins in the brain and affects brain structures and functions positively.
This is good. Hold that thought. Take some silk if you need a little memory to, help you remember, because we'll come back to this. Want to take this call from Tampa, Florida. Bill, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on. You had a question about enzymes?
No, just a comment, Doctor. I've been using the now super enzyme for years. Matter of fact, for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been handing it out to my relatives at Thanksgiving dinner, just sort of an experiment. And they all seem to have a noticeable difference. Everyone's getting older, obviously, and many of them have started taking the product after that.
Now, how did
overeat at Thanksgiving dinner? It's a given, right? So
yeah.
if you're over 60, and some of them are over 90, they're really not producing the enzymes that they need.
And you've been taking the product, 4 or 5 years?
Probably, you know how it is when you get old, Doc. It's probably about 10 years.
I don't know anything about getting old. I don't think like that. that happens.
Doctor, I'd like to mention something also about this latest hurricane thing. And you have a lot of sponsors to your show that have different sleep aids, and I think it's so important right now that if people are waking up because they still have that fight thing going on, take something. Get back in that routine of regular sleep, because sleep trumps everything. It trumps nutrition. It trumps everything. It's just absolutely essential, and we've got to get back to it.
Let me ask Neil. Neil, do you have any sleep-related dietary supplement products in the menu up there?
Sure. We even have one called Sleep.
Oh. You know the ingredients off the top of your head?
That's using GABA, an amino acid that calms the brain, and we combine that with some other herbs that are used for the brain, so for sleep aid. So I believe there's valerian root in there. I had one the other night, and the hops as well.
Yep. All those have been clinically tested. Those ingredients: valerian, hops, GABA. There's a mountain though. What's the other one?
Passion flower.
Passion flower. Yeah, these are all classic compounds, herbal compounds used to promote better and quality sleep. So it's actually called Sleep.
Yes, the name of the product is called Sleep, and what we've done uniquely is adding the GABA, which is an amino acid that calms the brain, so that it's not just the herbs. We've got one extra component in there.
Excellent. Bill, thank you for your endorsement. I'm sure Neil's happy to hear that you're giving your relatives now enzymes at Thanksgiving dinner, and that you're taking it yourself. And your comment about sleep, it's well taken. And sleep is an underrated lifestyle variable. Some people pride themselves on having to only sleep 3 hours. I don't get that, but I need at least 6. I do better with 7, and I do great with 8.
And not having a guy that has sleep apnea sleep next to you.
Yeah, well, that's a story for another day. Thank you, Bill. I had the unfortunate experience of being roomed with Gary, and that only happened one night, and I moved to another room because he has sleep apnea, and I couldn't sleep. It kept me up all night, poor thing. I mean, what do you make of sleep apnea? And that's such a troublesome disorder, Neil, and a dangerous one.
It is, and of course they have the sleep clinics where you go overnight and they hook you up with all the things and
he did that.
If you stop breathing,
he did that. How many times did they measure you stopping breathing?
Over 60 an hour.
Yeah, that's pretty.
I mean, commonly sleep apnea is associated with being overweight, but there's other issues as well.
Absolutely.
It could be associated with dietary things such as food intolerances or allergies that you're not controlling.
It can be structural too. It can be structural too, anatomical.
Yeah, and that's where the overweight thing comes into play as well.
Yeah, I was trying to tell Big Boy that, he said, well, they said that. I said, I know what they said, but I'm telling you that being overweight is not helpful. And he has a little device that he wears, and he said, I just need to adjust it a little bit. Really? Not what I heard. No adjustment. There's no adjustment for that.
Everyone's
Women who are pregnant or planning to have a child have specific nutritional needs. Maintaining optimal nutritional intake is important for mother and baby. Body Vigor's Preferred Prenatal can help mother and baby receive the appropriate building blocks for growth, development, and healthy function. The Preferred Prenatal formula provides essential vitamins and minerals, along with added support ingredients such as folic acid and DHA. Preferred Prenatal also incorporates a bonus herbal blend to help the mom-to-be with the uncomfortable side effects of pregnancy, like nausea, vomiting, mood swings, and uterine health. Support a healthy pregnancy for you and your baby with Preferred Prenatal, exclusively on Amazon.com.
Guest from Now Foods. Now is one of the leading supplement companies across the U.S., sold in fine health stores throughout the in North America, for that matter. And Neil broke a little bit of news that they have a new product out called Brain Attention. It is an interesting product. Pardon me. It's cutting edge in that it provides cognitive support. It's made with a trademarked compound called Sera-Q, which is a silk protein derivative that Neil explained helps maintain healthy brain functions in children as well as adults. And the Sera-Q allows it to, it interacts, has a unique structure in that it allows it to interact with existing brain proteins. This is good. And it helps with memory, learning, attention, and focus. So you might want to take a look at that. Neil, welcome back. We'll get to Sal in a moment. You wanted to focus on, I saw in your booking form, you had some things on your mind you wanted to devote to today.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little about nutrients for children's health. Of course, this is the back-to-school season, and people are always concerned. And you know what's interesting? The way that children nowadays seem to have a veto power over their diet, over activities, over everything. I even read recently there was this couple that was looking at this apartment, and they loved it, but they said they couldn't commit until they brought their daughter to see it. And they brought their daughter, and the real estate agent was surprised it was a 6-year-old who was going to have the veto power over whether they moved there or not.
What do you make of that?
Well, that kids are now taking a larger role in their upbringing, including their diet, including the choice of restaurants and which foods they eat in the restaurants. And that means that not only do they have poorer choices than they ever had, because we have the genetically modified foods that are not as nutritious. We've got the chemically raised foods that are not as nutritious. We've got the processed foods that are not as nutritious as they used to be. And a lot of them are not as nutritious as the food labels say they are, because they're using USDA food tables that are outdated compared to what the food supply actually is. And so the kids are not getting the nutrition they need, and that really cries out more and more for supplementation to cover those nutritional gaps as a nutritional insurance.
There are many parents that would disagree with you. You know that, right? They're going to push back and say, I feed my child very well, and they get 3 good meals a day, blah, 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 and they don't need supplements. Yeah, I'm sure you run into that.
Those are also the same parents when I was a school resource officer that would say, hey, your kid got in trouble. Not my kid.
Well, you make a good argument. I wonder how many parents are aware of the argument you just made. You know?
Probably not too many, and especially the fact that when they're actually testing foods for nutrients, they're finding they don't contain the nutrients that the food labels claim. And this is true of organic foods as well as the processed commercial foods.
Organic as well?
Yes, the natural brands are just as guilty of this, because they're assuming that the ingredients they use are going to match the USDA food tables, and they're allowed to do that by law. That's how food labels are typically made. Yet they don't have to test for them like supplements. Supplements, you have to test that the actual things you put on the label are in there.
In there. That's ironic. You can't make that up. The food is not the food not tested. The supplements are. Let's go to Tampa, Florida. Sal, you had a question about probiotics.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Dr. Cocco.
Good morning, Sal. Good morning, man.
How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
I have a question. It's not for me, but really for my wife. I want her to hear why I've been using now probiotics for a long time.
Okay.
And that's when Sophia, told me about it. I want some education. Why should the person be taking it? How is it going to help her to get over this bloating and things like that? So,
all right,
can you please give me the brief?
Sure. So is she taking it or not taking it? I misunderstood. I didn't hear you quite well.
She is not taking it.
She's not taking it. So you need an argument. You need to make an argument as to why she should.
Yes, I want her to hear it from somebody who's from now saying that.
Okay, good enough.
Some people you cannot convince them.
Well, especially, family members, your wife, they'll listen to a stranger. I get that all the time. I try to tell my family members, you should try this. They look at me like, yeah, right. I tell a perfect stranger, absolutely, Dr. Garko, I got it. Neil, go ahead and make the argument. Help Sal to persuade his wife that she should take now probiotics.
Well, probiotics are an important part of our digestive tract, and not only digestion, but the digestive tract is a barrier against foreign microbes, and so it's part of our immune system. And the way the immune system communicates depends on probiotics. So your ability to digest, your ability to repel things that don't belong there, your ability to nourish and mature your gut lining cells. The intestinal cells replace about every week. It's a very energy-intensive process. And the probiotics actually help that so that you can maintain the integrity and keep out the stuff you don't want, undigested foods, undesirable microbes. That's your barrier. And your barrier depends on having the probiotics. And the probiotics also ferment and digest things like fibers that would otherwise cause gas and bloating, because they're fermenting and turning that into food. Undigestible fibers that are called prebiotics are actually eaten and taken care of because we have these microbes like probiotic bacteria in our guts. So they're an essential part of human biology.
And about Neil's point about the probiotics being connected to your immune system is a very important point. And as people age, their immune systems tend to not be as balanced or homeostatic. One good reason for that is that their digestive system is sideways, and the ecology in their gut is upside down, if you will. The probiotics help put things back in balance, and Neil's right. They fight off the pathogenic bacteria, and hence that's that sort of that 70% of your immune system is located in various portions of your gut. So she needs to make that part of her day-to-day nutrition, Sal. And Neil makes a good point, and it's nice of you. You're a good husband. You're concerned about your wife. Good boy. That's a way to do it. Thank you for your question, too. We come back. Neil's going to mention some wonderful dietary supplements for children from Now Foods, and we'll have the LTN Health question of the day.
Are your joints feeling out of date and stiff? Is that old sports injury flaring up? Is your body aching from the daily wear and tear at work? Body Vigor's Joint Ready keeps you at the ready for any joint pain that gets out of line. Unfortunately, as we age, joint pain becomes more common. Body Vigor's Joint Ready can help provide relief so you can continue to go about your day. Our formula contains sulfated forms of glucosamine and chondroitin. Studies show that these sulfated forms are more effective than regular glucosamine bound to hydrochloride. Joint Ready promotes a healthy inflammatory response, facilitates cartilage synthesis, and provides additional antioxidants. Keep your joints at the ready with Body Vigor's Joint Ready, exclusively on Amazon.com.
Earlier, just a little bit ago, I was talking with Neil Levin, Senior Nutrition Education Manager for Now Foods, about a new product they launched about a month ago, and it's for the brain. Here's the question. What's the name of the product? We gave the answer. Is it A, brain attention, B, brain retention, or C, brain prevention? What's the name of the new product from Now Foods for enhanced memory, learning, cognitive function, better function? Is it called brain attention, brain retention, or brain prevention? Here's the number to call to win the $25 supplement gift card.
877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255. Anywhere in our listening area.
Anywhere. Give us a call. Win the prize. Don't hesitate. Neil, welcome back. Let's chat a little bit about some of these dietary supplements for youngsters. You have quite a few. Kid Vites, Kid Cal, Kyo-dopholis, Chewyzymes, DHA chewable gels, oral biotic, brain. I won't give the title away. Pick any ones you want to focus on.
Well, usually a multivitamin covers a lot of the bases. So the Kid Vits that we make is a chewable that is, really it's a lot better than a lot of the gummies that kids tend to take, because on the gummies, because there's a water-based system in there, they tend to not use the ones that taste bad, the nutrients, and they tend not to give all the vitamins. So you're not getting all 8B vitamins, for example, in many of the gummy multivitamins.
Exactly.
They're kind of skimping on them because they're trying to have a certain flavor profile, and they're dealing with a difficult matrix.
Sure. So Kid Vites is a full-spectrum multiple vitamin and mineral for youngsters.
Right, and of course it's chewable. And a lot of times the parents want to add a calcium, magnesium, vitamin D to that. So there is a chewable CalMag D. There's that we make. It's called Kid Cal, and it's designed for kids. And we use kids for the focus groups to taste test and things like that.
Yeah, you have one called Kyo-dopholis. That's a probiotic, I presume.
That's your probiotic for children. You wouldn't give it to infants because they need more bifidobacteria.
Right.
They have a more limited selection.
Right.
But once they're about 3 years old, 4 years old, it's fine to give them the normal probiotics that we take.
And you have one called Chewyzymes.
Yeah, the Chewyzymes are, if they're having digestive issues, you want to give them an enzyme, just like the caller before was talking about. They're taking a specific enzyme that's designed for adults. Here's one that's designed for kids or adults that's a gentle, chewable one. And so it's safe enough to give to, if you have a 4-year-old or an 8-year-old or a preteen or someone our age who wants to take something chewable as opposed to a pill.
I noticed these delivery systems, these are chewables for youngsters. This is pretty good. We'll come back to this nice set of dietary supplements for kids. Let's go to Clearwater. We have two Roberts on the phone. Let's go to Robert in Clearwater. Robert, welcome to the show. What is the name of that new brain supplement from Now Foods? Is it called Brain Attention, Brain Retention, or Brain Prevention?
My brain retained that.
Brain retention? You usually win, but not today.
I didn't retain it.
I have a T-shirt that says, I can only please one person every day. Today's not your day, and tomorrow doesn't look good either.
Or next month. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Let's go to Robert in Largo. Robert, what's the name of that new supplement from Now Foods?
Well, I was paying attention, so it's brain attention.
Very good. Congratulations. I can only please one person each day. Today's not your day, and tomorrow doesn't look good either. I have a T-shirt that actually says that. My daughter sent it to me. I think that's just great. You're a winner. Thank you, Robert. How you doing, by the way?
I'm doing great, and I was wondering if you still do physical exercise.
Yeah, funny you should ask. I'm back in the gym, man. Start back today, as a matter of fact, lifting weights. It's been 11 months, brother.
Well, congratulations. You have really helped a lot of people out here, and we really appreciate your advice and your show.
You mean help you in sharing my story about my
absolutely
my fight with cancer? That has helped you? How has that helped you?
Well, it's just the psychological that you portray about it. It makes so much sense in when you're having difficulty in a health problem.
Well, I want to listen. I'm thanking you from the bottom of my heart for sharing that. It's been a long 11 months, and your comment about how it's helped others is very meaningful to me, because I want to do more in the service of others. That's one of the things I've learned and how it has just changed my life. I caught a little criticism not long ago. Somebody thought that I had talked about it, and I guess they were, I don't know, annoyed or whatever that I talked about it. Well, I shared it for the reason that you just said, and I want to thank you.
And you're a great inspiration to everybody.
Well, thank you so much, Robert. I try. I'm just like everybody else, man. I'm just trying to figure it out. There's no manual for this, and I thought I would share it. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your sentiment and your kind words. Thank you.
And vice versa.
Thank you, sir. Neil, thank you. You had a long list. We covered quite a few of them, but folks can visit nowfoods.com and all those wonderful dietary supplements for children, yes?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you,
well, I want you to know that I missed you at Baltimore. I hope I get to see you soon, maybe in Anaheim.
I appreciate that. I will be there. Thank you.
Yeah, and man, you're a lucky guy. Your wife has a greenhouse, grows organic. Wow, you're so lucky. Yeah.
I'm lucky. She takes good care of me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Cherish her, as Sade says. Cherish.
At Country Life Vitamins, we've been helping people live happy,